So, hello everyone, and welcome to the second ISCARSAH webinar of 2025, which is about heritage in time of armed conflict. My name is Nicoletta Bianchini, and I'm a structural engineering at Atkins Realis in London and a researcher at the University of West London. Moderating this webinar with me is Evan Spear, structural preservation engineer based in Vermont, USA, and a senior engineer at Holmes, US. Today's webinar is brought to you by ICOMOS ISCARSAH. I will briefly introduce our scientific committee. ICOMOS ISCARSAH is the International Scientific Committee on the Analysis and Restoration of Structures of Architectural Heritage. It is a scientific committee of the International Council on Monuments and Sites. The first meeting of ISCARSAH took place at the Engineering University in Rome in March 1997, and the committee has met each year since then in venues all over the world. Sometimes nicknamed within ICOMOS as the Structures Committee, we are an international group of engineers, architects, scientists, and educators dedicated to the restoration and care of built heritage. We mostly focus on the structural and technical aspects of conservation and architectural heritage. We have a diverse board with at the end our president Paolo Lorenzo and our secretary general is Tom Moslis. The goals of ISCARSAH are, amongst others, to disseminate knowledge, promote international cooperation, and organize international training programs. Another goal is to collaborate with other scientific committees, and we are happy to welcome speakers and members from a wide variety of ICOMOS committees today. ISCARSAH has published principles for the analysis, conservation, and structural restoration of architectural heritage, and about 3-page long seminar document which is available for free in 10 languages on our website, and we highly recommend you to check this out. Much more in-depth guidelines for the analysis and restoration for heritage structures are also available. We publish newsletters and the bulletin, and also we organize on average 2-3 webinars per year. All of these can be found in our website and also YouTube channel. We also organize workshops. The latest ones were in Korea, Japan, and Romania. The next one will be during the ZAC conference in Lausanne on the 14th of September 2025. So let me thank you, ZAC community, for organizing. Finally, I want to acknowledge that this webinar was made possible by several people, especially from the ISCARSAH webinar committees, Steve Kelly, Timmy Kears, Evan Spear, Tom Morrison, and Professor President of ISCARSAH, Paolo Lorenzo. You can reach us at iscarsah@gmail.com, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and our website. So I'll stop my screen and I leave the floor to Evan to introduce today's webinar.
All right, thanks, Nikki, and hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. This brings us to today's topic, today's webinar on heritage in time of armed conflict. For time immemorial, armed conflict has been a plague on built heritage. Just in the last century, city centers in Europe and Asia have been decimated. Archaeological sites have been intentionally damaged, and places of worship have been lost forever. The International Scientific Committee on Analysis and Restoration of Structures of Architectural Heritage, or ISCARSAH, hosts this webinar, presenting perspectives from heritage professionals in both Gaza and Ukraine, who are involved in the conservation, protection, salvage, and future reconstruction of historic sites damaged by continuing armed conflict. A third speaker will offer a reflective account of Italian recovery after the damages of World War II. On behalf of myself, the co-organizers, and ISCARSAH community, I would like to thank all of these speakers for their dedication and for sharing their expertise with us today. As always, the webinar will be followed by a Q&A session, so please, if you haven't had a chance yet Please drop your name and where you're from in the chat, and also use the chat to add any questions that you would like to ask either one specific or all of the speakers, and we will coalesce those and ask at the end of the webinar here. I remind you that the webinar is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel after we end today. But it is my honor to introduce our first speaker today, Mr. Munir Elbaz. Munir is an architect and urban planner specialized in urban development and cultural heritage conservation. He has worked with the Aga Khan Development Network on urban regeneration projects in Egypt and Pakistan, and has led numerous initiatives to safeguard and revitalize Gaza's cultural heritage. He strongly advocates for the role of historic cities in driving local economic development. Munir has also participated in international trainings on heritage conservation and post-war recovery across Egypt, Germany, Turkey, Tunisia, and Palestine. Amid the ongoing war in Gaza, he is actively joining with nonprofits REWAC and CISS on cultural emergency efforts to safeguard Gaza's heritage. The title of his presentation is Heritage Under Fire, Rescue Efforts in Gaza Old City. Welcome, Mr. Elbaz. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and thank you for organizing this event. I want to share the presentation. The presentation is appear on the screens.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Okay, great. Okay. In the first slide, I want just through these are painful days for Gaza. Let's keep praying for peace for Gaza, the land that longs for peace. I'm always thinking that Gaza and geography has a very, what I can say, a deep relation, because the location of Gaza make for this city a lot of problems. Gaza is like a city between Europe, Asia, and Africa. Gaza is in the past it was on the ancient trade route. It was also in the Holy Land. It was and Gaza is between Jerusalem and Mecca, and Gaza is also the gate to enter Egypt, and also the gate to enter Asia. A lot of empires that are fighting to control Gaza from the past till now, and a lot of empires they want to control Egypt. That because this country is a very rich country, it has to enter Egypt through Gaza. So, and also, if any empire want to control Iraq or Babylon civilizations, they have to go through Gaza. So the relation between Gaza and geography, it's not really good relation, but I am thinking that Gaza is a victim of its location. I will not go deeply in the history. I won't go directly to Ottoman era, where Gaza was a very not very big country, but very sorry, not very big city, but very important city. We know that because of there were a lot of khans. It's like commercial buildings, like a hotel for traders. There were a lot of these khans in Gaza. And this is a picture for Gaza during Ottoman era and before the World War or first of the World War. And as you see, it was not a very big city. It's a modest size, but it's very important because its location. If we want to give like a quick highlightings about the land use for Gaza Old City during the Ottoman era, you can see the it's like other Islamic cities, the organic urban fabric, the commercial routes in the city, the public services in the city, the industrial areas in the city. So you can feel it's not very big city, but it has a lot of activities, commercial, industrial, public services. It was very important city between Asia and Africa and Europe. And during the First World War, a huge a huge destruction happened in this city. Less than 50% of the old city was destroyed during that war. So you can find like a, a strong cluster for historic buildings because a lot of buildings in this city was destroyed during the First World War. But between, I will go also through the history between the 1976 and 2023, that the old city of Gaza keep doing its role in commercial business. Sorry for that, yes. As you see that the old city of Gaza, it has a lot of commercial activities. And this is what I like in the old cities, because I feel that commercial activities can give the old cities a potential for development and for keeping this city alive. And as you see that there is a lot of commercial routes in the old city. It's different level of routes. Some of them are regional commercial routes, and some of them it's on the level of the city, and some they are a local commercial routes. Besides this commercial activities, there also the deep cultural heritage of the city. And what we are doing with the Gaza municipality and the Ministry of Antiquities, that doing like a nodes inside the city to do a redevelopment for the city and revitalization for the city, depending on the deep cultural heritage of it and the commercial activities. We believe that this criteria or this methodology can give a strong, let me say, like a strong jump for the city to reactive soon. Now we are talking to the current situation, and this map is from the OCHA. It's one of the arms of UN, and as you see that around 66 of Gaza City, it's like occupied, and the people they can't reach these areas in colored zones because it's very dangerous, because the Israeli army are there, they are destroying our buildings, our culture, our history, and the Palestinian in Gaza Strip, they are just moving in less than 34% of Gaza Strip. Depending on CCHP and the Palestinian Antiquities Ministry, you can find a huge destruction for the cultural heritage. And we can't imagine that this destruction is not was targeted by the Israeli army. We believe that these cultural heritage sites are targeted, and they know very well what they are doing with the cultural heritage of the Palestinians. These are the destroyed buildings in Gaza Old City from the report. And as you see that maybe are around more than 50% of the cultural heritage sites in Gaza Old City were destroyed. Now we are going to the rescue efforts in Gaza. As you see that a lot of very important organizations, international organizations, local organizations, governmental organizations, non-governmental organizations try to help and offer a rescue efforts for the cultural heritage in Gaza. And with all these fantastic organizations, and we thank all of them for their efforts and their help. We are working with them day by day to rescue what we can for the Gaza cultural heritage. I currently will highlight just a few efforts with organizations that I work with in the ongoing war. I will highlight the efforts of REWAC and CHS, CISS. Okay, REWAC, they are working in different levels to rescue the cultural heritage in Gaza. They are working in urban fabric level, urban design level, and also emergency protection level for the monuments, historical buildings, manuscripts, and other. On the urban fabric level, REWAC and World Monument Fund, they are trying to rescue as much as they can from the Gaza historic urban fabric. And you know that if we can't save the buildings by itself, at least we can understand and we can do something for the urban fabrics for the old city. So we are working with them in a project for revitalize and create an inventory for Gaza's historic map. And this map, the most important thing in this map is to add the outputs of this project to the database for Gaza municipality. So I feel in this a very difficult time that it's very important to give the governmental bodies all the outputs of our projects to keep them, to benefit of them in their long-term rescue efforts after hopefully the war will ending. So why we choose the 1928 historic map for Gaza? Because this map has a lot of detailed information about Gaza historical fabric and and buildings. So from this map, we know the boundaries, the landscape, the green areas, the building usage, water resources, open spaces, and street old names. And this map also connected with the archive of Department of Antiquities of Mandatory. So we can benefit from this map to build like a complete database and give this database to governmental bodies to benefit from them in their future projects. So, and this gave photos, drawings, and yesterday was like the final presentation for that project, and now the digitized uh, the digitized map are online, and all database are connected with the database of the Gaza municipality. And you can visit this map. It's now online on Gaza municipality website. The other level is urban design level, where we work working with Gaza municipality to do like guideline for conservation and how to deal with the urban design level for the Gaza old city, and how to deal with what are the general principles for dealing with heritage buildings, what are the principles to deal with markets, public buildings, public squares, streets, alleys, and individual private buildings. And this is like examples about what Gaza municipality thinking how to reconstruct the Gaza old city buildings, and how they think about the Gaza conservation guideline. And this is another examples for how to deal with the urban fabric, and how to deal with also the different kinds of building on different levels, like restoration, rehabilitation, typological reconstruction, remodeling for the facades, new development for the vacant plots, and how to deal with open spaces. And also how to deal with the directions, signage, lightings, ironworks, pavings, benches, and all of these things. Okay, on the other side, we are talking about the monuments, old buildings. Before the war, one of the most important buildings that Iraq now working on is Al-Qaysariya Bazaar. This bazaar is very important place because this bazaar is containing the different backgrounds of the people from Gaza city. There are a lot of Muslims and Christians. They are working side by side in this bazaars in very peaceful working environment. This was before the war, and this project won the Ikram Sharjah award in 2024. And after or during this ongoing war, there are a lot of organizations want to work to rescue this important building, like CCHB and RIWAC. Now they are going, they are working in this site. These are different photos for rescue efforts. And these are photos for collecting the ornaments of the project. Another very important building is the El Omari Mosque. This mosque is one of the most important mosques in Palestine, not only in Gaza Strip, and also one of the biggest mosques in Gaza, in Palestine. This mosque is very, 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 very important for the Gaza community because, as you see, the mosque was, in the past, it was a church, and then it became a mosque. And the foundation of the church, it was also a mosque. And before the mosque, it was also a church. And before the church, it was a temple. So this very important monument in Gaza. And there is a lot of stories around this building. and it's very important effort is doing by REWAC and CCHB to rescue this important mosque. The another building is public services building. It's the Gaza municipality building, and we are now working with REWAC to do like first aiding for the building to give the opportunity for Gaza municipality to work again in this building. It's Ottoman building. Another thing that REWAC is working on is cultural centers. These are Sakka House. It was a cultural center, and also it was targeted during the ongoing war. And we are now, we stopped working on this site because the Israeli army now in the site, in this place of the old building. So we frozen the working there, but hopefully if ceasefire is start again, we will work again in this site. Another important building is a Christian family from Gaza, and we are working to adaptive reuse for this building, and REWAC thinking to use this building again with collaboration of the owners of the building to give a space for the conservation teams to work in the old cities, but we are still in the first steps to dealing or to doing intervention in this building. The another kind of intervention is for the manuscripts of the Gaza Old City. We have a certificate, or we have like a very important document from Rich Library that the manuscripts collection of Gaza Old City is one of the most important collection in the region, because this collections, it's not about a religious manuscripts, it's about different kinds of sciences and different kinds of topics. The project of rescue this manuscripts won also Ikram Charja award in 2020. And also this collection was targeted through this ongoing war. I don't know why the manuscripts can be targeted from the army. And this is the efforts from CISS to rescue this important manuscripts. And this two different photos for the same place on your right hand is what we was working and imagine a future for the manuscripts department before the war, and in the left hand is the current condition for the manuscript department. In the end, cultural heritage in Gaza Strip, it's not about the stones or the old monument or the historical building. It's about the identity of the community. We are working to keep the identity of the people, the Palestinian in this land, and we are trying, and we will keep trying to rescue as much as we can about our identity in this land. Thank you so much, and thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Munir.
Thank you, Munir. Thank you for all the hard work that you're doing, and for the very insightful presentation to bring light to some of these topics. Everyone, please remember to drop your questions in the chat, and we will be happy to address them at the end of the presentations during Q&A. We'll save all of the questions for each of the speakers until the end. It's my honor to present our second speaker today, who is Viktor Dvornikov. Viktor is an architect and restorer in Kharkiv, Ukraine. He is a research expert in immovable cultural heritage, the curator of Expedition Service in HEMO, which is the Ukrainian Heritage Monitoring Lab, and is the head of the NGO Urban Development Platform. Today, Mr. Dvornikov will present on the response to cultural heritage damage in Kharkiv Oblast in the Ukraine. Thank you, Mr. Dvornikov. The floor is yours.
Hello, thank you. Dear colleagues, it's a pleasure to be with you. Today, I would talk about preservation of heritage in Ukraine during the war. And I am present the Kharkiv. It's the biggest city of eastern Ukraine that has big damages during the war. According to the officially information of Ukrainian Ministry of Culture, Kharkiv, the city with greatest damages of heritage. We have more than 600 damaged objects. It's different condition, but all of this building was damaged after different types of attacks. Now you see a photo from the central part of the city.
Victor,
Victor.
sorry, I don't believe you're sharing your screen. Could you try sharing your screen? We're not seeing your slides.
I'm sorry. Just a second.
Oh, it should work.
Now it's appear.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes.
Can you try to put it full screen?
Great. Thank you. So you see the photo from the central part of the Kharkiv. It's the main square, one of the main square of the city, and you can see big damages of a few buildings, but it's a result of rocket attack in the beginning of full-scale invasion in 2022, and consequences of this attack was damages more than 40 objects of heritage in this central part. The high density of objects leads to this big scale of damages. Now you see the dynamic of destroying and damaging of objects of heritage. Left picture is a map of the central part of historical area of the city, and you can see a big that show rocket or bombing attack, and small big dynamic of damages. And today we have in 22 we have just 400 objects. Now we have one. So now you see the map of Kharkiv region, and it's a place that we were examined during full-scale invasion. And great part is the occupied part of region, and our expedition was provided on all territory of Kharkiv region and another regions of Ukraine. The dynamic of expedition depend of the safety, depend of intensivity of conflict, and now we have examined more than 30 cities and towns in Kharkiv region. And this work show us there are many problems and challenges in our sector, immovable heritage. The first problem that we have, there are many objects now is invisible for system of protection heritage. And during the expedition, we reveal more than 20 hundreds objects in Kharkiv region that have no status of monument of architecture, and is building its example of this. It's a residential house of director of sugar factory in Guty town. It's Kharkiv region, and you can see a very detailed facade decor, wooden decor that has a very high level of risk if this building of this town was will be attacked by missile or drone or different type of weapon. And we have deal with big scale of this object that's invisible for our system for protection. And you can see it's a city Guty, city Zmiev, and different and other city that has a big historical area of these cities, and including there are many big quantity of objects of heritage that not protected and not monitoring during the war. Another case, we have sometimes we have deal with invisible historical settlements. It's a city, it's a town Mala Danilivka near the Kharkiv. It's a very big historical area. It was stood farm, big plant that was developed during 19th century, and there are many objects still here. But last year it was attacked by air bombs, and more than 30 objects was damaged. Part of it was damaged, destroyed totally. So another kind of problem is a lack of an action algorithm for emergency situation at heritage sites. Our emergency organization, emergency organization that must to protect people, that must to protect civilian infrastructure, doesn't have differentiation between the civilian building and building objects of heritage. And often we have situation when we lose authentic material from these objects, and you can see it's a significant object of Kharkiv. It's Pavlov's mansion building was built in 1830s. It's a good example of classicism, architecture of classicism. And the central part, most valuable part of this building was lost after work. Our emergency organization like city council organization that worked on this site, and all authentic material that was collapsed after explosion was taken to the worst. So and only this part was saved after this attack, and only this part we can use for restoring this building. And it's a problem have a big scale in Ukraine, because we have no algorithm for emergency situation. Another case we have in October 2023, it's a building of railways technical school in Kharkiv that was attacked by drone, and central part of this building was collapsed. You can see the central picture, and after that our communal organization try to just a second. Try to work on this object, and they collapsed part of the building because they say it was very emergency for people, for the traffic, and they are collapsed this building. And next case was in city Kupiansk near the Kharkiv. You can see next a few times of this building that was attacked by rocket, by bombs, and city council of Kupiansk approve the total destroying this building, because they think that building was can be restored. And but no, but sometimes we have good examples of connection with city council and city government, and in 2023 we has deal with city council and establishment the working group on issues of monitoring the elimination of the consequences of the destruction of monuments of architecture, history, monumental art, and other. So this team worked on objects of heritage that was attacked by Russia, and its example is a building of Deshprom, building its monument of modernistic architecture. It's object in preliminary list of objects of international heritage, UNESCO, and it was attacked by Russian bomb, and you can see some parts, some elements that was collapsed. And in this case, we have a good communication with different parts of city council, and we realized our work on this subject. So how we work? First of all, we need informing about the situation This team of this group, including the architects, restorers, engineers, and heads of different departments of the city that we need for cooperation. And first of all, we need informing all this humans. So second step, we need operative on-site, going to on-site formation of the working commission. Next step, we provide a situation and risk assessment, prioritization for operative salvage of cultural heritage objects and their fragments. Searching for owner or responsible persons. Determination and marking of cultural heritage elements in need of saving, including movable objects of heritage. Next, determination of prioritization, emergency and stabilization measures. Step 7, photography of emergency site, including of heritage objects, elements, or if sometimes we need photogrammetry or 3D scanning. Next, appointment of persons responsible for observing of debris removal process. Next, control for collecting and packaging of heritage objects elements, organization of evacuation to the storage. And next, evacuation of elements in the absence of storage condition on the objects. And next, control of the process of loading and unloading of heritage elements during the evacuation. Preparation of the work results report and the description of damages elements. And last, sorting of elements and receipt for the storage with registration, organization of shelter and protection of elements. And last, advocacy for the stabilization, conservation, and restoring process, because this problem including different actors, and we need to advocacy this process for it happen quickly. Next case was happened last year. We try preserving of authentic details in one of the objects in Kharkiv. It's first real school in Kharkiv that was attacked by 2 rockets in 2022 and 2023, and you can see big parts of rubble on this site. Last year we start to collecting authentic materials on these objects. We search and rescue authentic parts, and formation of a community for saving heritage objects and operational work. And now this community works on another objects. This work can connect different peoples around big idea for preservation of their history, of their identity, and these people now work together in different objects in Kharkiv. So it's a big work. We have collected more than 55 cubic meters of authentic bricks middle of 19th century, and these materials will use for restoring this object. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor, for the very interesting presentation. I want to remind the participants that they can drop their question in the chat, and we will address them at the end. Evan, are you there?
Okay. Thank you, Victor. Very much appreciate your talk and your hard work protecting heritage and organizing efforts there in Kharkiv. Let's now move on to our third and final speaker, Professor Chiara Calderini. Professor Calderini carries out research in the field of mechanics and modeling of masonry structures and the structural vulnerability of historic constructions. After graduating in architecture from the Polytechnic University of Turin, she obtained her PhD in structural and geotechnical engineering from the University of Genoa, where she's currently an associate professor of structural engineering at the Department of Civil, Chemical, and Environmental Engineering. She is the coordinator of the Masters in Building Engineering program and has long directed the Materials and Structures Laboratory at University of Genoa. She's the author of more than 90 scientific publications and coordinator of several Italian and European research projects. She's also a member of ISCARSAH and on the editorial board of the International Journal of Architectural Heritage. The title of her presentation today is Images of the Second World War in Genoa in Italy, the role of documentation of war damage to cultural heritage. Thank you, Professor Calderini, for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you see my screen, my presentation?
Yes, we can see you're good to go.
Good. So it's an emotion for me to be here and to join this webinar. Okay, we go back 80 years ago in World War II, where my city, Genoa, was attacked many times from the US and British Army. I'm going to present you a set of images that was collected in the past and to show you the damage that we suffered and to see how today we use the pictures, all the images collected to understand our heritage. This research was made by me, but together with engineer Andrea Capurro, that just graduated in my university with me, and Professor Rita Vecchiattini, that is a professor of conservation in the University of Genoa. Bombing in Italy, okay, in 1939, we had the announcement of Italy entry into the war alongside Germany. This is the square of my city, the main square of my city, where all the people collected to gather to listen to the announce of the war. Just to give you an idea of the situation, we are in the north of Italy. Genoa, I just try to get, okay, here. Genoa is here in the north, okay? In mid of the war, the Italy was divided in three parts. The Allies and the United States Army arrived in the south of Italy. There was a like free zone, and the northern part of Italy was under the fascism and the control of Germany yet. So Genoa was here and was under the control. And this is why Genoa suffered a lot of attack from the UK and USA. The objective of the attack was to weaken Italy's military and industrial capabilities. Most of them was in this zone because this is named the industrial triangle of Italy, because here is Turin, Milan, and Genoa, the three main industrial cities of the country. Other attack was made in Rome and other portual city all around the coast, but this zone was the main zone of attack. The bomb occurred from 1940 to 1944. And Genoa in particular was attacked not only because it was an industrial city, but also because it has a big port. And so this was a very strategic place. Just to give you an idea, Genoa suffered bombs other times. Most of the times we are a seaside city. Most of the time was we suffered attack from the sea. So this is, for example, a famous picture of the French attack in 1684 that destroyed the historic center of the city. However, this is the map of the US War Office made in 1943 of the city of Genoa. This is the city, the main part of the city. You can see this is the harbor. This is important. I just give you a detail because this is the harbor, the main harbor, and here there is the historic center. So during the war, they don't want to attack the historic center, but since it was so close to the port and the industrial zone, it was hit many, many times. And it was a huge problem for us. Just to give an idea, this is a picture of the RAF of the British Army giving the war theater in 8 December of 1944. This is a picture taken from a flight of the city under the bombing. Just to give an idea, the attack strategies were different during World War II. We have air or naval raids. It's important to say because they produce different damages on heritage structure because the airplane attack provided vertical bombs, okay, while the naval attack provided mainly horizontal or diagonal trajectories. And so this produced a different effect. Just to give an idea, in those years, we have different type of destructive bombs and different type of incendiary bombs, and they all produce the damages on the heritage buildings. And for the first time, that time, they used the Bengala that was like incendiary, like light that was used to lighten the sky and to see the objective of the attack.
Just checking through these because
are there some
in the middle of it.
Okay, this is an impressive image for me because it's taken from my home, from my actual home, where these are the Bengala on my city. Just to give you an idea, the effect of bombing during World War II were of different types because we had fires that produced a loss of timber structures, explosion producing horizontal action on the structures, and the impacts mainly on horizontal structure for air raids and on vertical structure for naval raids because of different direction of the bomb. Just to give you an idea, this is the list of the bomb attack in Genoa during World War II. So we had many, many attacks, 23. And this is the list of the heritage buildings hit by bombs during World War II. Not to read, but just to give an idea of the quantity of building that was damaged during the war. Fortunately, Heritage Protection Institution documented the damage to historical buildings very well, with thousands of pictures. And this is an invaluable heritage that we have today to understand our heritage, to understand the damage, some of the damage that we still see today on the buildings, and to know how the buildings are made. The documentary sources was made by the Civil Engineering Corps that was engaged for the restoration and the safety intervention on buildings. The Regional Office of the Ministry of Cultural Heritage that documented in a great detail all the damages, and the municipality of Genoa. In Italy, even if Genoa is not an earthquake-prone area, but in Italy we have a long experience of disaster management provided by earthquakes. So we had a lot of documents giving us the idea of the damage on heritage building, mainly due to earthquake. But this experience was very important during World War II because most of the civil protection action used to recover the heritage structure derived from the earthquake experience. And also, like to say, our firemen, our civil protection corps were skilled to manage this disaster. And that's why we have so many pictures, and we were, let's say, organized to manage the disruption. So now I show you the picture. I will not say nothing, and then we will comment at the end. Oh, this is, okay, the first picture is in the cathedral. It's named the Miracle of Genoa because it was this huge bomb was unexploded and is still in the cathedral to remember the war. But obviously it produced a lot of damages. This is my square, the main square of the city. And then a set of churches damaged by the bombs. I will just let you see. Okay, I stay here because this is the first picture that pushed me to study war damages. Why? This is the seat of the School of Engineering. I still work here. This is my office, almost, okay? And I will let you know later why it was so important for me, this building and the damage produced by the war on this building. First of all, I want to say why study damage to historical building today. For 3 reasons. Because thanks to this picture, we can know how historical buildings are made today. Okay, so because we can see the construction techniques, we can see the technology, we can see the past techniques and so on. This is particularly important in a region with a low seismic risk, where we never have the chance to see inside the buildings, let's say. This is a tragedy, obviously, but today can be useful to have this picture. Mostly to be aware of the past damage, because sometimes we see some damage today and we don't understand them because they are not due to settlement, they are not due to landslide, they are not due to earthquakes. So we don't know why do we have these damages, but then we recover the ocean picture and we find out that they are from the war. And so this is very important today. And again, to be aware of the reconstruction, because sometimes we don't realize that some buildings were damaged by the war and maybe partially reconstructed. And so it is important to know that the different parts dates back to different epochs. And so maybe sometime, again, we find some damages that derive from the connection from the old parts and the new parts reconstructed after the war. So these are the main reasons. Just to show you some example, the first reason to know how historical buildings are made. For example, sometimes I just see this picture to analyze the wall section. okay? Because it's very difficult to have the wall section of this heritage building, but if you see this picture, you can recognize the construction techniques, the masonry, how the masonry is made, and so on. And again, you see here, for example, discovering that in sometimes, for example, this wall is very particular for us because in Genoa, most of the masonries are made of stone, while finding a wall like this made of very thick bricks, it's very strange. And I discovered it only from this picture. Or other case, to see the section of arches, vaults, and turrets, as in this case and other case like this one. Here, for example, you can see the thickness of the vault and the thickness of the infill. That is huge thickness. I never realized that there would be something like this over the vault. Or again, a section of the vault, and arches, a section of the vaults, and turrets, again a section of the vaults, and again section of the walls, and so on. Again section of the vaults, turrets. False vaults were made to cover rooms and so on with these vegetal elements that are almost hidden and you'd never see them. Again, false vault. And roofs, roof technology made with arch, for example, with these typical pillars that we have here in Genoa, or directly made on the walls, like this case. Again, roofs and ties. For example, this is a particular type of tie that we have here in Genoa with the double connection on two levels, here and here. Or roof, again, a timber roof, and so on. The second reason, as I told you before, was to be aware of the past damage. And I recovered this picture of my School of Engineering. Why that's interesting for me? Because they called me some years ago, to analyze some cracks that was in the building, okay? So the head of the School of Engineering called me and say, okay, we have this crack. We don't know why. Are there structural problems in the building, maybe? And at the first sight, I was not able to understand these cracks because I say, I don't know, it's maybe the push of the vault or what else, I don't know. But after I found the picture of the wall, and I found that it was this crack was the same that I collected before. This was another crack that was in the corner. This was the same that I observed today. And again, also this one. And again, this was the cracks in the main hall where close where I'm here now. And this was, for example, a tie rod that was inclined, like pushed like in this way. And I'd say at the beginning, I say, what is it? And I can't understand. But then I found that there was a bomb also here that produced a thrust on this vault, pushing the tie rods on this wall inside. So this was very important because sometimes knowing the past damage, the past and war damage, allows you to understand the damage that you have today. And then be aware of the reconstruction. Just to give you an idea, this was the map of how they work for reconstruction after the war. So there was a project preparation and artistic responsibility under the Monuments and Fine Art Department. Then there was an approval made by the Regional Office of Monuments. They prepared the document and it was made by the Civil Works Corp because it was also interested to the safety, not only to the conservation, but also to the safety of the structures. And then validation and then construction management. What is important that there were many different institutions involved in the process, not only the Monument of Fine Arts and Fine Arts departments, but the Regional Office for Monuments, the Civil Works Corp, the Regional Office for Public Works, and the Civil Works Corps. What is interesting that in this phase after World War II, these two regional offices that in practice approve the project was named by or selected by the Allies. directly. So, I mean, by the United States or United Kingdom. But why it's important to know what they did after the war? Because, again, we know the city in this way. They divided non-recoverable buildings and recoverable buildings. And the strategy was to work in different way. For the non-recoverable building, many times they made reconstruction with modern shapes, and this is a clear example for this. Or in sometimes they decided to demolish the old building to make a new square. And it was very important in Genoa because Genoa city center is a medieval city center with very dense. Okay, so sometimes the war damage was the chance to have open space in this medieval historic center. For recoverable building, they were mainly restored and reconstructed as they were. So this is an example of one of the main buildings of the city that was damaged by the war, and it was reconstructed. What is important is to have, again, to have this picture showing us how they reconstructed, showing us that this part is the original one, and this part was the reconstructed one, and showing us the techniques used for the reconstruction, for the connection of the parts, of the old and the new parts. So these are really invaluable documents for us to work today in the city. Just to conclude, I remember you that in 1954, after the war, we had the Hague Convention that for the first time proposed like a law. It was a convention for the protection of cultural property in the event of armed conflict with regulation for the execution of the convention. And this document was approved and ratified by Italy in 1958 and today is still active. No end for peace. I finished.
Alrighty, thank you for that very interesting presentation, Professor Calderini. It's nice to add that broader perspective, given more separation from the actual conflict, and I feel we can learn a lot of those lessons from the observation of past conflicts in order on how to survey and assess damage in current and future as well. And with that, Nicoletta, I think it's good time to switch to our Q&A session.
Yeah, sure. So thank you again to all the speakers. As Evan said, they were very interesting, and of course it's a complex topic which brings several complex questions, but let's try to keep it technical. And I would like to start with a question for Munir and Victor. How has your job as architect changed in the recent years? If you faced practical differences in your daily life?
Do you want me to start?
Yep.
Okay. According my job now, I try to benefit from all of my pre-experiences. Okay. Can I answer? Okay.
I think you can continue, Munir. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. During this very difficult time, and because the war is still ongoing, so I will.
Please mute your phone if you're not a speaker. Thank you.
Okay. Because the war is still ongoing and the war is not finished yet. So I try to benefit from all of my experiences in Egypt and Pakistan and my previous projects in Gaza to benefit my community and my city and to work as much as I can to rescue what I can do for any level of cultural heritage, urban fabric, urban design, or monuments or old buildings.
Okay, thank you. So I understand Victor is already off, so probably we can move on with the next.
I'm here.
Okay, okay.
As for me, my experience helped me to create some project for socialization of heritage now in Kharkiv for protection objects in Kharkiv and formation of community around the heritage because we have big problem in our society after Soviet genocide that we have in 20th century, and there are many people lost their memory, historical memory, and the heritage. They have no connection with our heritage.
Okay, thanks. And similar question, is the society of Gaza and Ukraine
You're muted, Nikki.
sorry. And again, is the society aware of the need to salvagarding the heritage context and the heritage built environment, or you are struggling to make them understand?
And the question is for me or
for you and Victor?
Okay, if I can start. Now we are struggling with the community because Gaza is under very hard siege. There is no fresh water, there is no food, no electricity. There is nothing open enter to Gaza from more than 60 days, and the people they are suffering from this siege. And if you don't have to feed your kids or children, so how you can think about the cultural heritage. So there is a lot of people, the professional, they can understand what we are talking about, but the community now under very hard pressure because the limitation of food and water and medicine also.
Thank you, Victor.
As for Kharkiv, now we have ordinary life because the hot phase of the war in Kharkiv was in 2022, and now we have sometime every day attacked by drone, by rocket, but it's not. It's allow us to live the ordinary life, and there are many people. Remind that the war is happening now. So we worked with cultural heritage. We try to socialize in heritage in Kharkiv now.
And that's important. Thank you, Victor. Okay, so now I would like to ask Professor Calderini. Since you are a professor involved in the definition of educational programs for a new generation of architects and engineers, do you think that at this time it's crucial to make an effort and focus on blast scenarios and emergency engineering? And is there any plan to insert these two disciplines in the educational modules?
Okay, not yet. I think I'm not aware of specific programs for that. However, I know that 7 years ago we proposed in the University of Genoa a master program in engineering for building retrofitting. And what surprised me that when we planned this master course, we was thinking about earthquake, floods, and so on. But we received a lot of application from young people coming from workplaces, let's say, and saying that I want to study building retrofit in order to reconstruct my country when I will come home. And so I think that there is a request from young generation to have a specific education for this. It's difficult to make let's say a specific master plan only on this, obviously, but I think that it could be considered because today I think that a lot of damage comes from war more than other things.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you, Professor Calderini.
One question for both Munir and Victor, as you're in you're in different phases of this conflict now. Munir, Gaza is still being attacked. Currently, people are struggling for food and water. Victor, you're a little bit away from that locally in Kharkiv. Has there been any more systematic way of, we talk about safeguarding the heritage fabric, and we've seen examples of taking the historic building elements and being able to inventory them or take them away into safekeeping. But for temporary shoring of these structures to hold what's left in the meantime, while the main focus on safety and everything is taking the forefront, but keeping those buildings from getting any worse at that point until you can get to a state of more calm after the fact? Or are there any systematic or cooperative efforts across in your areas to approach that temporary shoring, or is that even possible?
Okay. Do you want me to start answering, or Victor can start? Yes. Okay. According to our case in Palestine, we are lucky because we have another part of the Palestine is in West Bank. They are struggling, but there is no like the war in Gaza Strip. So our colleagues in West Bank of Palestine, they are doing a lot of efforts to help us to collaborate, to contact with the international organizations to safeguard the cultural heritage sites. And also we have like another colleagues and friends in Italy and Netherlands, in UK, and we have a lot of very good relationship with the cultural heritage organizations from our pre-projects with them, and they also are helping for us. But if we are talking about like institutional system or steps, our friends in West Bank, the Palestinian in West Bank, they are preparing all these efforts, and they are collaborate with us in Gaza Strip.
that there's that effort that is some semblance to have that extra support being a little bit separated. Victor, have you seen that in a little bit further along, being able to be a little bit more separated?
As for our experience now, we have collaboration with international society, with international organization like UNESCO. If you know, they have a special mission in Kharkiv in this year, and they support us in different projects, and they support with experts. So the different part of supports is our government, local government, because Kharkiv is a big city. Now we have more than 1 million people there. And we have some resources that help us to make some great job with heritage. So we have now we implemented a project with World Monument Fund. We have a project for with stabilization of historical monument, historical building.
We lost him. Let's see if he comes back soon. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, maybe we can move to the next question for Professor Calderini.
Sure.
This question comes from Mary Grace Kazunkant. Have you identified any notable alteration in mesoremorphology, particularly in relation to damage patterns in areas affected by impulse loads from wartime bombing?
Yes, it's okay. Consider that bombs in World War II, I think that were quite different from actual one and from modern one. So as I told you, it's quite easy to recognize the type of, quite easy, not so easy, to recognize the effects and the type of bombs, because there are mainly two cases. In one case, it's when the bomb comes from for example, an airplane and goes vertically on the building. In that case, you recognize the damage of the floors, of the walls, and so on. In other cases, it's when you have a bomb that explodes inside or outside the building. And the effects in that case are different, because when in both cases, the explosion produces horizontal load, so producing out-of-plane mechanism of the masonry structures that are quite similar to those that you observe in an earthquake. And with different effects if the bomb is inside or outside, okay? Because if it is outside, you have a strange mechanism, because you see the walls that goes in the building, let's say, okay, within the building. In the other side, when the bomb is inside, you see the like an opening mechanism that is more typical. In any case, okay, you can sometimes recognize these two different effects. In any case, let's say what you don't see, for example, with respect to an earthquake, you don't see shear mechanism or something like that. You mainly see out-of-plane mechanism in the walls, or let's say disruptive mechanism on the floors, timber floors and walls and roofs, okay, for the bomb. And then taking account that the fire is a very important aspect. And I know that still today, this is very important because I heard also, for example, from Ukraine, that one of the problems is the fire on timber structures, and it's difficult to protect them from that effects.
And further onto that same question from Mary Grace, I think for Professor Calderini, but all of our speakers, Munir and Victor as well. In addition to the visual inspection and historical analysis of these buildings, what types of non-destructive tests for the actual materiality of these buildings would be most applicable, that could be easily done and could assist in distinguishing this damage caused by wartime efforts versus vulnerabilities induced by seismic activity or others?
Yes, usually, let's say that usually if we have to work on a building, we used to make the destructive and non-destructive tests to assess the materials, the masonry types, and so on. I don't think that, okay, you can recognize something from the war. I think that the picture from the war may help you a lot to see how the buildings are made. So, for example, from 10 years, when I have to work on a building, the first thing that I do is looking for war picture. Because many times I found pictures showing me the masonry texture, the masonry section, the vault elements, and so on. I think that this is very precious after 80 years. Okay, and also for the damage, because I really see that many times sometimes I find damage that I cannot understand from my usual, okay, and then I understand, see in the picture, I always go to the picture, see them from the picture, I say, okay, this is a war damage. Okay, and also because, as you know, masonry, when a masonry cracks, it's almost impossible to recover the cracks, okay? So cracks remain forever, let's say. Maybe you can cover them, you can make a mortar injection to close them, you can redo the plaster, but the crack will always come out, and so you can see them. And it's important to consider this because sometimes you really don't understand nothing about the damage, and only from the picture you understand something.
Thank you, Professor. Munir, Victor, I saw a lot of nodding. I think photography and just that documentation along different phases to try to identify the progression of either failures or damage can be helpful. It seems like that is your perspective as well from.
I fully agree with Chiara because the visual examination I think is mainly useful for situation when we have a lot of damages, a lot of damaged objects, and then when we have most safely situation for restoring, then we can use another technical examination and another equipment. But first of all, we use visual examination.
Munir, any thoughts?
As well as I agree with them that the photographic documentation is very, very, very important for the rescue efforts and restoration efforts after the war. So it's a essential part of the analysis, the building, the photographic documentation.
Okay. Well, thank you all, and thank you all again very much for joining us today. and presenting on the various very tough conflicts that are ongoing in different phases right now. Let's pray that they end soon, and that we're able to get back to an area of safety, and that we can start looking at restoration and rehabilitation of the cultural heritage, which is oftentimes a later phase in these conflicts. But we very much appreciate your time, efforts, and patience with us here today. I want to thank all of the speakers, and also our ISCARSAH board and the ISCARSAH webinar team that's been very helpful in making this possible. Thank you to all of the participants today. We had a maximum of about 85 people today, so very good attendance for one of our talks. But just wanted to put a quick reminder that the General Assembly will be on September 25th in Lausanne, in alignment with the SAC conference, and the recording for today's webinar will also be made available on our website and the YouTube channel, where you can reconnect with the talks today, and hopefully we can spread this to a wider audience even furthermore. But thank you to everybody here, and that will conclude our webinar for today.